Welcome back. We are here with Tyler from Modern Digital Group. Tyler, how are you doing today, man?
Fantastic. Thanks for asking, Easton. How about
Of
yourself?
course, I'm doing well, man. The weather is kind of nice today, so I'm feeling good, and it's great to chat with you. So you founded Modern Digital Group in 2017. What inspired you to get into this?
I was kind of tinkering around with doing e-commerce, and I was learning drop shipping and how to build websites. And from there, I started to cultivate the skill set, right? So as I was like playing around doing websites, I found people that wanted to do it. I was working my full-time job, and then I had a part-time job at a bank. At that time, I actually had five jobs all at once.
Wow.
And I know, right? And so at the job at the bank, I was seeing people that were younger than me coming in and they were depositing checks for their own personal businesses. And I was just asking them questions like, hey, what do you do? Some guys had website design businesses, some guys had like house cleaning businesses and stuff like that. And so I did an Instagram poll that was like, hey, I'm starting this little thing where I'm doing like e-commerce on the side. Should I just quit my business? Like, should I just quit my job and go all in? And I got more yeses than nos, and so I just did it.
Nice. That's crazy. And you also support a lot of local businesses in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Why did you decide to go the local route?
Preferably like right now, since I do a lot of hands-on, and it feels like it's a lot easier for me to explain things to people in person, right?
Yeah.
People get a lot more from it when they're face to face with me, and I can see, their reactions. Okay, body language, are they understanding things? So, it's been like I'll pour as much as myself into the business as possible when I'm in there, and then I just get referrals from there. So that's the only reason it's like heavy in the local rather than more remote, but I do have remote abilities.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of those local businesses are overlooking the power of social media. What is one step that a local business can do to start to build their presence on social media?
So I would say to start thinking about social as more of an extension rather than an extra thing. I think a lot of businesses, they more think that it's like this extra thing to reach more people, but in reality, it's just a way to cultivate a pre-existing community that you have. So every time a customer is coming in, if they join you on social, now they're able to, extend the conversation beyond just where they're at inside.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I agree completely. I think, just going like the documentation route is important for people and, sharing what they're doing. And you're also huge into helping people obviously create content, if that's personal people, if that's businesses. Why do you think it's so important for businesses in general to start creating content?
So a lot of So actually, I had this conversation with one of my clients yesterday. He's thinking about he has three restaurants, but he's also thinking about starting a personal brand. And I was saying, oh, this is really great because one, it allows the customers that you currently have to see a part of your world that they don't normally see. But primarily, there's so much competition for attention everywhere you go.
Yeah.
So people will forget, unfortunately, they'll forget about you. There's football games, there's music concerts, everything going on. And once you start creating content, it's more of a connection with who the brand is, the brand identity, what they stand for, rather than just trying to sell them on products.
I really like that, and I agree. I think that authentic connection that you can build with people to not only get get them invested in your business, but yourself as
Mhm.
well. And for those people that are looking to start creating content, maybe they're a little scared, maybe they're a little nervous. What is the best way for someone to get started?
So honestly, just kind of thinking about how I got started was through Snapchat. I just
Wow.
record Yeah, I know, right? It was weird because on my way to work, I just started recording just ideas that I had. I was listening to some audiobooks in the morning, and it would spark thoughts. So I would just start recording and just put it on my story. I didn't really
Yeah.
think anyone was listening or paying attention, but then I'd get people swipe up randomly like, "Oh man, that really resonated heavy. Can you
Yeah.
can keep it up?" and stuff like that. So then from there, it just became like a place where I put my ideas, and then if people tune in, they listen to it, resonates, I'm inspiring other people, and then it kind of became way easier, you know. And you could even get started. Another way is just thinking about you're leaving breadcrumbs behind for your future generations. So like they can actually see what you did on a day-to-day basis, whereas our grandfathers and, you know, further down the line, we don't have anything from that. We have maybe journals or something, but now they can literally see what you did on a day-to-day basis.
Yes. And for the people that might say, oh, I can just handle my own socials, why would someone want to hire you versus doing it on their own?
Man, the same reason I'd even give my team access to edit all my things. There's only 24 hours in a day, and because, you know, you could be sitting here thinking about you have the best idea possible, but then, you know, there's another idea and there's another idea. So you're gonna have so many projects that get piled up and nothing gets done. So when you have a team dedicated to taking care of it for you, now that's the that's the distribution. You become the creation, they become distribution.
Yeah. I really like that actually. And I think, that power to delegate from a business perspective is super important. And to kind of
Mhm.
switch gears, you are insanely ripped and like jacked. What started you on your fitness journey?
Thank you by that. Um, so a while back, I was an athlete, but I was never like ripped or toned or anything,
Yeah.
right? I'd run track, and so I was like really skinny. And through college, I had this incident where I tore my ACL, PCL, MCL, LCL,
Holy
tore
crap.
my meniscus, and a small bone fracture all at once that took me out of like everything. And as I was recovering, they gave me crutches and some pain meds. And I had to get two different surgeries. But as I'm crutching, going to college and stuff as I could, my arm started to develop more. And then I also started to go to the gym a little bit more and try to like rehab my own leg because I couldn't necessarily afford to pay for college and pay for rehab. So I started to just like do my own personal rehab and I'd work my legs out and stuff. And then first surgery happened. So I had to recover from the first surgery, but I already knew what to do then. So then second surgery happened, same thing. And then so from that process, I had worked my way up from nothing twice. And then I got a job at a gym and people saw my progress there and then they wanted me to train them. So I then became like a personal trainer and yeah, it just kind of kept on going up, and the habit of just working out just kind of stayed with me.
And when you had that surgery and then recovered, did that change your perspective on how you view life at all?
Oh, 1,000%. I was on a whole different trajectory of life prior to that happening, and because it happened, uh, again, since I was paying for college and I had three jobs at the time, I had to quit one of my jobs that I couldn't do just because of the physical requirements. And then that was kind of primarily paying for my college, so I had dropped like two semesters, and then I ended up getting another job at the Planet Fitness where I met this guy named Will Taylor. He's in a podcast that you'll see chopped up all over my Instagram. And he gave me the book Think and Grow Rich. That book completely changed my mindset. And I would have never met him had I not had the incident that then made me lose the job to then go get that job as a replacement.
Yeah.
Everything changed from there.
That's wild. And it's so crazy how just things happen. And you look at something in the moment and you're like, gosh, this sucks. And then you look back and you're like, oh my gosh, that was the best thing ever. And for someone that is wanting to start their fitness journey, maybe they're a little overweight, maybe they're just not motivated at all. What is one actionable step that someone can take to begin that fitness journey?
So I'd say, again, for everyone, it's going to be a little different. But primarily, you have to incorporate it as a lifestyle. Whether it is just starting off by the book Atomic Habits talks about this really heavily. But just even if you're a person who has never stepped foot in the gym, by getting into the habit of just going to the gym, even if it's for 5 minutes and then leaving, you're going to start to establish that habit. And then eventually you're going to feel like, man, well, I'm in here for 5 minutes. I feel silly just leaving. So now you might try a couple more machines and you might stay a little longer, right? But now you're becoming the person who goes to the gym rather than the person who doesn't. And we're always like our habits day to day are creating who we are. So just by you starting to show up and do the thing that you know you need to do, you're gonna become a whole different person by the end of the year.
I like that. And what is your most proudest moment in your entire life?
Man, that's a tough one. uh, I don't necessarily know offhand what the most proudest moment would be. Because I feel like there's always another step and another level to
Yeah.
things. But I would say maybe starting a mastermind group, because from there, like I said, once I did the Instagram poll and quit my job and then immediately like became an entrepreneur, starting to like hustle and get clients and stuff like that. My friends started to see it, the ones that would watch my Snapchat stories and then Instagram stories. And from there, I did another Instagram poll. Hey, from the book Think and Grow Rich, I have this idea where if we all meet up at a library at a set time every week, we work together, brainstorm ideas, um, and we'll see what comes of it. I had four people show up, and now all four of those people own their own business, and it's kind of crazy
Wow.
just to see the growth and trajectory. And people started to see us meeting and doing stuff, and we'd have new people come in and out. But just the impact of those decisions is incredible.
I have two more questions.
Oh yeah,
If
what's
you
up?
could have dinner with two people, one person from the past and one person from the present, who would it be and why?
Hmm. Person from the past. Knowing that Napoleon Hill interviewed so many successful people, and he, through just having a conversation with him, I'd probably be able to like pick his brain on a lot of other interesting topics. And he also did this thing where uh, he'd sit in kind of meditation and have like mastermind groups of people in the past and that he never met, but he read books on and studied. So I would definitely say Napoleon Hill for one. And the reason just because that since his book gave me such a change to my life, I would think that having a conversation with him would also do the same.
Yeah.
Um, and as far as for the present, man, that's really interesting. Because like there's a lot of like people that I see who are, pushing and doing things like, Elon and, like I don't know. For the present, maybe Ty Lopez, because I see him as an internet entrepreneur. Like he's meeting a lot of people. He's met a lot of people. He has a lot of knowledge. He's listened to so many more books than I have. And I definitely would love to just like, like not rub shoulders necessarily, but just like if I'm in a room with him, I know I'll absorb a ton
Yeah.
of information more than just the internet. So maybe Ty Lopez.
Yeah. The Napoleon Hill one was interesting. That I've never thought about meeting someone that also met a lot of people to pick their brain. That's a good one. I really, really like that one. I have
Oh yeah.
one more question.
Yeah, what's up?
Why did you decide to partner with us and offer the discounts?
Yeah, so I remember back when we first met, it was on TikTok, man. And so just seeing your progress, your growth, seeing what you're building a gigantic network, right? And so from there, I also have a nonprofit which is kind of doing a very similar idea. And that similar idea is we're realizing that the power of our network is everything. And so I'd love to participate in your activity, what you're doing, because it's very similar one what we're doing, but like I see that you're a consistent person, you build and I just love to be a part of it, for sure.
Thank you for those kind words. I appreciate it. That's all the questions I have. How can people reach you, and what is one thing you would want to leave people with?
So I would definitely say through the social media would be the best because I'm always changing website links and stuff like that. So primarily Instagram right now, which we can put the tags down low or down
Yeah.
below or wherever. But one thing I'd love to leave people with is we are our own limiting factor, right? Based on narratives that we've accepted through growing up, Like I'm from Flint, and I'm also a Black American, right? And so a lot of Black Americans, especially from Flint, have limiting beliefs because I'm X, I'm not going to be able to do Y. But in reality, given all these factors, there's still a plethora of ways that I can tackle any issue. And if I allow myself to be limited by those beliefs, of course, I'm not going to see a way to do it. But if I say, minus these labels, minus all this narrative, there is a way that someone has done this before, or that it can be done. So, what actions can I do right now to bridge the gap from where I am to where I want to go? And then my mind will start to generate a plan, or at least show me what I don't know, and I can then learn new information and bridge that gap. So that's why even on my shirt, I say make yourself a priority, because it's all about what you prioritize.
Yes. Well, Tyler, thank you so much for coming on, man. I just love chatting with you, and your energy is amazing, and I just love what you're doing. Thanks, man. I
I
appreciate it.
appreciate you, Easton. Thanks for having me on here, and I appreciate
Yes.
everything you're doing too.